To politics now, Beto O'Rourke could take months to decide whether he's going to make a 2020 White House run. The Texas Democrat talked to Politico today and said he has no timetable for making his decision. He also talked about feeling exhausted after his Senate race and loss to Senator Ted Cruz last year. O'Rourke could be among the favorites if he decides to join the race, but the field, it's already crowded with 8 contenders so far. Among them, former San Antonio Mayor Julian Castro.